Video 3. The logic behind drug illegalization. Why are narcotic drugs illegal? Well, if you think it is because narcotic drugs are bad, you have at best come up with part of the answer. But as this is no time to discuss the true reasons to why drugs are illegal, let us settle for drugs are bad and ask ourselves, how does the presently dominating drug policies, i.e., illegalization, together with supply oriented drug policies, counter the assumed reason that drugs are bad? One way is that illegality keeps some law abiding citizens from venturing onto drug taking and drug supply careers simply because to do so would be to break the law. However, for reasons that I will not elaborate upon, though it has some merit, this is not a very strong argument. The main way by which illegalization reduces drug use is not a categorical, but a consequential, in that illegality allows society to take action to cut down use of narcotics by attacking its supply, thus making it more expensive. Because a good way of making us do less of something is to make the price of the something rise, and that is what illegality claims that it does to narcotic drugs. The way illegality is used to cause higher prices is to try to make it more costly for the drug racket to supply drugs and thus cause higher prices. The higher prices, in turn, are then assumed to cause less users to less use drugs and less drugs to be consumed. There are two ways by which society tries to inflict greater costs upon the drug supply racket. The first is to seize and destroy and to prevent plantation and production of drugs. The second is to harass the individuals in the supply chain so as to make them ask for greater compensation. Against this logic, it can be argued that the same illegality that allows the use of these two tools against the suppliers also allows the suppliers to corner the market, make monopolistic like surpluses, so as not having to worry all that much about minor increases in their costs. But one accepting this would have left me without two great books to write. I think I mentioned the titles earlier. And two, there are plenty of other arguments against illegalization. Thus, I will leave this quite possibly conclusive argument for the moment, and instead I shall acknowledge that it is true that illegality causes higher prices that in turn causes less use and users. Now, uh, instead of arguing that illegality's cornering effects easily cancels out its price rising effect, I shall first simply argue the power of illegality to cause higher prices and less use is not as strong as we may think it is, nor as it once was. Before we go on, take note, there are three different types of drug policies. Illegalization's companion, supply-oriented drug policies, are about trying to reduce the supply, i.e., making less drugs reach the market. The second one is demand-oriented drug policies. These policies want people to ask, to demand less drugs, and it's thus a policy based on information or harassment of users. The first one, supply-oriented drug policies, works through producing higher prices, whereas the second one, demand-oriented drug policies, whether it wants it or not, produces lower prices. Lower demand causes lower prices. Then there is a third drug policy that is sometimes seen as a part of demand-oriented drug policies called harm reduction. Harm reduction tries to alleviate the bad consequences both of drug use and of illegalization. Next video will show how I will go about demonstrating the first part of my argument that illegalization's power to cause less use is not only weak, but also in the process of weakening. Further